Hello and welcome to DNQ ahead of a very fascinating and sensational March international window coming up next month. We bring to you introductory information on a tournament we don't know too much about, but it looks in principle to be fantastic. Following the news that there is an enormous budget going into football Sri Lanka in 2024. There is this bizarre tournament set up between Sri Lanka, Papua New Guinea, Central African Republic, and Bhutan. Ryan, March is sensational anyway. It's good to have international football back. It's good to see Sri Lanka playing again. But this tournament's a little bit weird. What have you been able to find out about it? Because I've not been able to find out a lot.
It's bizarre. It's amazing. These fixtures are history making. I should have fact checked that, but I'm going to make a very, very strong assumption that these sides haven't played each other, or there's going to be
Limited
instances of teams, or not all of these teams will have played against each other. Now, what we don't know is we don't know the format. We do know that these four teams are scheduled to play against each other in a tournament between the 22nd and the 26th of March is what we've been able to glean. Doing some extra digging, I have established or have basically read up on this is the first of, or this is the inaugural version of what FIFA are calling a World Series. So it's the first one of its kind in Sri Lanka. Now, there's been conversations between the FIFA president. Is it Gianni Infantino? That's correct, isn't it? That's right. Sorry, I knew that, but I've not done enough research into this before. And through sort of meetings with him and the people in sort of senior positions in the Sri Lankan FA have set this up with the whole. A few things here, and I'll read direct from a news article. FIFA will provide the most a needed boost to football in Sri Lanka, as the FSL delegation explained the way forward. The FIFA World Series will provide an opportunity for all countries to improve and advance into the second stage of FIFA World Cup 2027 qualifiers. Sri Lanka will be joined by another Asian country, which we now know is Bhutan, along with another nation from Oceania, which we now know is Papua New Guinea, and one country from the African region, which we now know is the Central African Republic. I should have caveated that the report and these news articles that I've been reading up on came out towards the end of January. So it's something that was revealed then. And what we've now learned across the last couple of days is who the sides are and when these matches or this tournament will take place. As I said, we don't actually know the format, mate. So we don't know if they're going to be in a group stage. We don't know if it's a semi-final, final, and then a third and fourth place playoff. But that's kind of what we've taken so far. It sounds amazing, and the idea of these World Series, if this is something that's going to happen across the globe, where FIFA are providing funds for FAs like Sri Lanka to host nations from across the world for tournaments like this, and have nations that have never played each other competing. It sounds amazing. Interestingly, I don't know if I've had my head in the sand, but I've not heard of this at all since discovering that Sri Lanka are set to play Bhutan, Central African Republic, and then I've done digging myself, mate. Is there anything that I've missed out there that you've sort of found out about this, or any news that's worthwhile sharing on it? Because it's interesting.
It is, and it's worth mentioning. The 2024 budget for football Sri Lanka, which was I'm reading in the last couple of weeks, has been approved. Everyone have voted in favour for it. A historic over 1 billion Sri Lankan rupees, which is a multi-million pound budget, their highest ever budget to put towards football Sri Lanka. And that was obviously earlier this month. So it's fantastic to see that within a month of that sort of being announced, they are playing some very interesting, friendly tournament style matches, sort of like like obviously it's a World Series, but it's similar to Nations League in a way in terms of, teams that don't always play each other. But this is the main difference being that they are from, of course, different regions. touching on Sri Lanka, we don't know all the ins and outs, and I'm sure as we get closer to it, we might do some game previews. But 15 new players, part of their roster for this. They've really tapped into eligibility. You've got Razik and De Silva still part of the squad, and there'll be a few others as well that you might recognise still part of the squad. But loads of players from all over the world that are eligible to represent Sri Lanka now getting the call up as well. So this team that's playing in this tournament next month is going to be very different to a Sri Lankan team that we've met in the past. All I can see is that Sri Lanka are not playing Central African Republic in whatever the initial stage is. They've only got 2 games against PNG and Bhutan. Likewise, you know, I'm not going to go through every team, but out of the 3 teams, it seems that each side will play twice initially. So you have to assume that it's a group stage. You play 2 of the 3 teams randomly picked, and then maybe there's a final. I don't know. It all seems a bit strange. Normally with 4-team tournaments, they each play each other once in a single round robin group. And then there's sometimes a final between the top 2 and sometimes not. But this, from what I can certainly see, and, you know, this tournament is so new and nothing's been kind of written about it. There's nothing on anything. I mean, there's always normally, at least you can see, if you go on Wikipedia fixtures, you can normally see when teams play. It's not even on there for those sides. So, Sri Lanka are definitely going to play against Papua New Guinea and Bhutan, which, you know, is going to be fantastic anyway. But really excited to see sort of how this tournament takes shape across the next month or so, and what it's going to look like. Like you say, if this is the start of more of these World Series style tournaments, we're going to see some of the teams ranked in a similar area to Sri Lanka and co. Start to have some of these sort of international development tournaments, and that just means more stuff to talk about here on DNQ.
It's there's a lot of gaps still, isn't there? We're not sure. We've pieced together the little breadcrumbs that we've got to provide this sort of weird, short and sweet video for you all. So do like and subscribe if you're new. And if you've got any information that you know about this tournament that we haven't mentioned, please do throw a comment down there. Or if you're just looking forward to seeing what these fixtures are, let us know in the comments below. You made a really good point. My final one is you made a really good point on the eligibility thing with Sri Lanka, the investment they're tapping into potential representatives of the nation. And I want to throw out a few names. Claudio Kamenek, who plays for Dinamo Dresden. You've got Oliver Kellart, who plays in Iceland. You have got Jack Hingert, who plays in Australia. And you've also got Adhavan, who's a striker who plays for Nordic United in Sweden. So looks like we're moving away from the domestic-based squads and reaching out to international potential Sri Lankans that can help support the development of the national team. And it looks like this FIFA World Series might be the first place that they do just that. Excited to see how this one pans out, mate. March is going to be amazing. There is so much fantastic international football coming back to our screens. We're looking forward to it.
We are. And that is all from us on DNQ Football. As Ryan's already said, don't forget to like, subscribe, etc. And as always, we will see you next time.